Just in terms of sheer training. I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. Um,
I can see it doesn't bother me, but it doesn't really bother me. But I see what you're saying.
um,
I see what you're saying.
3 is really frustrating as well because Rocky is again a complete idiot.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't take Clubber Lang seriously at all. Like, and even though Mickey is telling him like outright, he's like, if you've never listened to me once in your life, Rock, you gotta listen to me now. This guy will
Yeah.
tear your fucking head off.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, Rick, you're just joking. He's like, I'm not joking with you, Rock.
I'm not joking with you, Rock.
For Christ's sake, Rock.
Oh, Mick, you funny.
He's like, you're so funny, Mick. Are you
God
drunk,
damn.
Mick? I don't drink, Rock. But he's like, he basically gets on his knees and begs Rocky. He's like, please, Rock,
Yeah.
would you please take this guy seriously? And Rocky's like, I'm gonna train. Don't worry, I'm gonna train. And he kind of sets up like a a ball pit and a dunking booth, and like it's fucking ridiculous. And of course he loses. I mean, it does build up his comeback. How the whole story is about him regaining his Eye of the Tiger.
Gotta get the edge. Eye of the Tiger.
When you fought me, I saw something I never saw in another competitor. It's the edge, the Eye of the Tiger, Rock. Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, because all that stuff, with him not listening to Mick and everything is the first act of the movie.
Yeah. So I don't know. Really, it's just the kind of. I guess Rocky 2 for me is the one that frustrates me the most. It's not the worst, but when he blows all his money on a car and a jacket, and
Yeah.
and his wife is pregnant for God's sake, and
We're gonna have to drive you to the hospital.
he's like, "We gotta drive you to the hospital in my convertible." Isn't this nice? It's got cruise control. It's got a CD player. And so, like, she goes in a coma, and the doctor's like, I'm afraid your wife may not make it, but if you had $37,000, we might be able to afford this procedure. He's like, oh, shit. I bought a car.
If only I had a robot with artificial intelligence.
What if I could still hawk my jacket? No, what am I talking? That's crazy talk.
That's crazy talk. Damn, I look good. I agree with you. Objectively speaking, the first one and the sixth one are the best ones. I also, in this one more thing about the sixth one too, is that the relationship with he and his son is handled a lot better in the sixth one than it was with the fifth one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my least favorite is the fifth one.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that just because there's really not much to it, and when you get right down to it, it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
You knew they couldn't top Rocky 4 in terms of just ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And you knew they weren't going to try.
Uh-huh.
But it was clear that Stallone's heart really wasn't in it.
Yeah, it was out of all of them, I mean, the fourth one is a summer movie, It's a popcorn flick, more so out of all of them.
I guess my closing thoughts on the series is where, like I said in the beginning, you really can't consider any of the sequels except Rocky Balboa to even really be in the same continuity. And by that I mean, it's well established in the first movie that Rocky is not a good boxer.
Yeah.
He's not that big. Even at the age of 30 in that movie, he's pretty washed up. To the point where Mick is even telling him to retire in that movie. So when he becomes the world heavyweight champion in the second movie, Carl Weathers, he trains harder, he's in better shape, he's a better boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, Rocky has no business beating him in that movie.
Yeah.
And so from then on, the fights he get into just throw credulity out the window because he's fighting Clubber Lang, he's fighting these enormous black motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Who by all right should eat his heart.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much heart you have. Mr. T was fucking huge.
Oh God, yeah.
Dolph Lundgren had 1.5 feet and 85 pounds on this guy.
He had 1.5 feet on Mr. T.
So, I mean, there's really no business. I mean, there's underdog, and then there's Heart of a Champion, there's Eye of the Tiger, and then there's Dolph Lundgren would kick your fucking ass.
But man, the fourth one is fun though.
Oh, it is. But you see,
God.
But it's just it's actually just very hard to believe that Rocky Balboa could take any of these guys, because really, when you get down to it, Rocky Balboa, Stallone is about 5'8".
Yeah,
200
he's
pounds.
just, like I said, a little bit taller than I am.
I really doubt he even qualifies as a heavyweight.
And that's why, the first one and the sixth one are the ones out of the whole series that are based in any kind of reality. You know what I mean? A final thought that I have on the series is that what I do love about the entire series is that, it can there's entries in it that can speak to whatever mood that I'm in. Am I in the mood for something really heartfelt, serious?
Sure, yeah, you're right.
Emotional? 1, 6, even some aspects of 2. Am I in the mood for camp, pure 80s greatness? It
does run the gamut. You're right.
Yeah, then you got 3 and especially 4, and then even I got nothing to do. I'm kind of bored. Well, I haven't seen Rocky 5 in a while.
Well, again, this is where I go back to the Rambo series, which parallels the Rocky series in a lot of ways. It doesn't quite run the emotional gamut. It kind of does, where it actually starts out very tragic.
Yeah.
And then it gets kind of really silly. But
well, yeah.
I want what they want. But every guy who died in the mud and spilled their guts once.
The war's over, Johnny.
Nothing is over. Nothing. I love that scene where it's actually kind of Stallone really does turn in a great performance, but he really does turn into just blubbering at the end of First Blood, where he's like, and then my friend, his kid comes up to him and he goes, shiny, shiny, and he opens up the box and it blows off and his guts all over the place.
He does that in the third Rocky movie too, and I was watching that the other day, and what he's saying to I couldn't quite make out exactly.
Mick. He's like, I love you, Mick.
Yeah, I couldn't quite make out exactly what he was saying there, but yeah, I like I said, I love Stallone so much. I have always found him to be very underrated as an actor, and I use examples like the end of that really emotional scene at the end of First Blood.
Oh yeah,
and Rocky 1 and Rocky 6 as examples.
Did you see where they used in John Rambo? Did you see where they used the alternate ending of First Blood?
I did see that. I did notice that.
Where he's kind of like wrestling in his head whether or not he wants to go back and find the missionaries.
Yeah.
In Burma, and he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. He's having like a nightmare where Troutman is all talking like, when are you going to finally understand you're a full-blooded combat soldier, and like, when are you going to come full circle? And so like he's kind of having these war flashbacks, and all of a sudden they show the scene where he like has Troutman shoot him in the chest.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was awesome.
Right.
Where he's like they used it, and it actually makes a whole lot of sense, where he's like, his life could have turned out so easily that way. That's the nightmares where his torment could have ended with that scene. I'm like, awesome.
They had a theatrical screening here, probably about a year ago, I think, where they showed First Blood in the theaters here in town, and they showed it with the alternate ending.
In the theater with the alternate, wow.
Yeah, they showed it with the alternate ending. So I'm just imagining somebody going to see it not knowing that the alternate ending is attached to it.
Oh, that would have been me. I would have gone there, and then I'd see a preview for Rambo First Blood Part 2, and I'd be like, wait, what? What the fuck?
Is it a prequel? Like, missing in action too?
That would have blown my mind. Anyway. I guess that brings our discussion of Rocky to a close. Any questions from the chat room about Rocky?
I'm gonna get hang on just a sec. I'll be right back.
I hardly consider myself an expert on Rocky. Before I just felt like talking about the series because every one of these movies is so different.
Oh
But,
yeah,
but there's a lot to talk about in these movies.
I gotta refresh your stream here so I can see the chat. I just got my Rocky box set. Do any of these have like commentaries or anything on them?
I don't know. I never thought to listen.
Oh. Let me pause here. There we go. I had your stream on in the background. It doesn't really look. These are.
Yeah, I got like a 6-pack that has Rocky in the flag on the box.
And I'm trying to get the chat room and the.
How did I like Mason Dixon's trainer speech in 6? It was good. I mean, I actually thought that made Dixon rather sympathetic, where he's kind of trying to find his roots. Dixon finally realizes he's kind of surrounded by sycophants who want to protect him, and it kind of brings him back down to earth. Trainer speech was very good.
What's the link again to your stream?
Justin.tv/Spoony1. What do I think was the best part of Rocky IV, as ridiculous as it was? The part that has me smiling the most is the Living in America dance sequence where Apollo is strutting to the ring. I love that. I love that scene.
Mine would probably be. I love the "There's no easy way out" montage.
Yeah. And I always do scream out with Rocky, Drago!
Drago!
Honest to God, if I could be any other man on earth, that would be Apollo Creed.
Fuck yeah, man.
The Italian Stallion.
The chat window isn't.
See, the Hearts on Fire montage never really gripped me the way the even getting Gotta Fly Now. I always loved the Gotta Fly Now, and I love when they brought it back for Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, me too.
Because I never really liked Eye of the Tiger as much as everyone else did. I liked it, but I wasn't singing along every time it came on the radio. I was just kind of like, okay.
Oh, I love that fucking song. What was the other one for? Burning Heart.
Hearts on Fire.
Hearts on Fire. There goes the chat room. Okay, now I can read it.
No Easy Way Out. What was No Easy Way Out?
Who sang No Easy Way Out?
No. What movie was that?
Oh, 4.
4? It had to be 4, yeah.
That was 4 when he's driving around in the car.
Oh, yeah, and they show scenes. That was actually the Drago training montage, really, where he's kind of driving around, and you see Drago all pumping iron, and there's wires all attached to him. He's like,
there's no easy way out. Love that fucking song. Yeah, Rocky IV is. I actually read somewhere that an extra montage was added to 4 because the runtime on the movie came up pretty short.
There's really not much to that movie, you know.
The movie is like almost exactly 90 minutes.
What was Drago Dolph's last movie? No. Dolph's been in tons of shit.
Rocky IV was like I want to say his second, because up until then, I think really the only thing he did was a small part in A View to a Kill.
Yeah.
He had to audition out of like 1,000 guys to play Ivan Drago.
Yeah. My favorite Dolph movie? I don't know.
I love The Punisher.
This is going to make me sound bad because I love a lot of Dolph movies. Universal Soldier.
I love Universal Soldier. I'm with you on that. I love it. I mean, my favorite Dolph movie is probably The Punisher. But I do love I can't hear you.
Soldier.
He is having the time of his fucking life in that
Masters
movie.
of the Universe. Hell yeah.
That's probably what Jillian would say.
Yeah. I loved the guy who played Skeletor. What the fuck was his name?
That was Frank Langella,
yeah,
wasn't
Frank Langella. I loved him as the fucking Skeletor. Was Apollo's death in Rocky IV necessary in the grand scheme of the series? No.
No, I mean, it was necessary to that movie, I guess. I mean, but that movie itself isn't really necessary to the entire series.
Honestly, that scene kind of smacked of kind of 1980s cliche, you know, where like every Death Wish movie, Bronson had to have someone get killed to make it personal.
Well, and it's also it's also like the formula for the third one, where
they had to kill Mick.
A fight happens, person loses, person dies, and then Rocky. Then there's a second fight at the end.
I honestly think it would have been a lot better. I guess they had to come up with a reason where they wouldn't let Drago fight in the United States for the heavyweight championship, so he had to go to Russia.
Yeah.
So he had to kill him. I don't know that was completely necessary. If I were writing it, I don't know that I would have done that. Because
you easily could have had, like, maybe it puts him in a coma.
Yeah, he beats him so bad he's in a coma, or he beats him too, you know, like maybe the referee stops the match. Like it's a TKO, the referee stops the match, but Drago just keeps pounding on him, and he puts him in the hospital, basically in a body cast. So like he just beats the shit out of Apollo, and so for Apollo's sake, he goes to fight him. You know, did you need to kill him? I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even if you put him in the hospital or something like that, you could have honestly I think that would have worked better dramatically, because you could have had a lot more scenes with both the Rocky and Apollo character.
Yeah, you could have had Apollo kind of give a monologue where he's just barely hanging on to life, and he's like Stallion, you gotta do it for me, Stallion. Like
I was just kidding when I said don't throw in the towel.
He's like, why didn't you throw in the towel?
You told me not to.
But yeah, but Stallion, for Christ's sake, man, he was killing me.
You said no matter what.
How am I supposed to read signals? You speak in code, Apollo.
Damn it, Rock. Did you want me to go ahead and hit stop on the call graph?
Oh, whenever you want. This is good.
Do you think the first Rockies... We were talking about that earlier, whether Rocky should have won Best Picture or Screenplay.
Okay. Could I argue that it was robbed? No.
Yeah.
Do I think Taxi Driver or Network were better films? I actually do not like Taxi Driver that much, but I do love Network.
Yeah.
I probably would have said Network was the better movie. But could I, if Rocky was read as the best picture, if I was alive in 1976 and they named Rocky as the best picture, I would not have leapt up from my chair and shouted, "Bullshit!" No.
Yeah, I mean, they're all three. It's hard to say. I mean, you can say which one you like better out of the. They're all three completely different movies, but they're also all three classics. This isn't a situation where, Taxi Driver lost Best Picture that year, and the movie that won, no one fucking remembers. It's not a situation like that.
I think a lot of people consider that year to be Scorsese's big chance. Like, if Scorsese was ever going to win, that would be the year. Again, I would disagree with that assessment, because I think Scorsese's done better movies before and since, but...
I like Taxi Driver a lot. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite of Scorsese's, but I do like it.
To me, I could never really relate to the Bickle character, and I know you're not really supposed to, but there is just something kind of retarded in that character where he takes his date to a porno.
A lot of dates go to this.
Well, you take your dates to pornos, but.
Did I ever tell you that I was on a date when I saw Boogie Nights in the theater?
I mean, you took Jillian to see Caligula. It was one of the first fucking movies you saw. By the way, that's a special kind of woman you got to stick with you after that.
To put up with the shit that I watch. She was in the room the other day when I was watching Night Dreams. She didn't like. I actually kind of like that movie, but she didn't like it very much.
So I mean, when Bickle takes her to the porno movie, which is obviously a porno movie, and she walks out of there completely offended, as most women probably would be. I'm like, dude, are you really surprised she wasn't digging the porno?
I actually have a copy of that movie they were watching.
So I was like, I really was just kind of frustrated with Travis Bickle at that moment. I was like, are you really so stupid as to think she was into a porno? I mean, maybe if you thought she was a trashy chick and she kind of liked that stuff, but she worked in a political office. She worked in a campaign office. I really don't think she's that freaky a chick.
I see all this stuff on your desk, the cups, the pencils. You know, this is probably an unpopular opinion. I really do like Taxi Driver a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I prefer Bringing Out the Dead.
So do I. Yeah. I mean, if I was ever going to say there was an Oscar-worthy movie that Scorsese should have really won that year for, it's Bringing Out the Dead. I love that movie way more than I like Taxi Driver.
I like Bringing Out the Dead better than, as much as I love Taxi Driver. I really do love Taxi Driver because I love a good fucking sleaze flick. But I really love Bringing Out the Dead. I mean, it's the mixture of the kind of Scorsese movie that I love, and it's also my favorite Nick Cage movie.
I can kind of relate to Bickle's predicament, though, because when Scarlett and I were first dating, she was like, I'm really curious as to, I'm telling her what I do, and I'm like, I review shitty games, and I do these comedies, and so she's watching some of my videos, and she's like, I'd like to kind of see the process. I want to know what you do. So I'm like, well, I am watching this one movie I'm thinking of reviewing. And she goes, really, what? And I go, it's a martial arts movie called Riccio. And this was way before you reviewed it. I actually didn't want to review it. I was just kind of like, it's kind of silly. And I actually, frankly, I kind of liked it. But
oh, me too.
So I put this movie in, and she hated Riccio. Oh, she hated it bad. That was like one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in our relationship was making her see Riccio.
I was in a situation like that once with Caligula, surprisingly only once. It was I was going out with this girl, and she asked me what my favorite movie was. I said Caligula. She'd never seen it before, and we had watched some exploitation flicks before that. Like we watched like I Drink Your Blood and like maybe a couple other stuff. So we were going out for a little bit, and I was like, "Well, do you want to see Caligula?" She's like, "Sure." I'm like, "All right." Then I said, "Like, have you seen Clockwork Orange?" And she said she hadn't seen that either. So I'm like, "Oh, well, we'll do a double feature." So we watched Clockwork Orange, which she loves. This girl loved Clockwork Orange. And so I'm kind of like, okay, well, she likes this. I might like Caligula. And so then it comes time to put in Caligula. And I'm getting ready to put the disc in, and I hear her say, she goes like, yeah, I don't have a problem with exploitation. I just really don't like hardcore pornography. Then I'm like, yeah.
Eject. Eject.
Yeah. Then I'm like, oh, fuck. I turned to her and I said, this movie's really rough. You might not like this movie.
There's
She's
cock
like,
in this movie.
So I put the movie in. We get maybe 10 minutes into it, and it was I might as well. It would have been less awkward if I was watching it with my grandma.
Well, it's like the first movie the first scene of that movie is him screwing his sister, right?
Yeah, and then it gets to the Tiberius stuff and the random crotch shots. Like, at the random crotch shots, okay, she's sitting there pissed, and she's like, I am not fucking enjoying this. And I'm like, all right. So I get up and I hit stop, and she's like, no, go ahead. I know it's your favorite movie. And I'm like, oh, if you're this pissed off at just the crotch shots, you're not going to make it to through the rest of the movie. Like seriously, this was like before the stuff with like the fist up the ass
Oh,
and
yeah,
shit
oh,
like
yeah.
that. So it's like, there's no way you're gonna be able to. And then I was like, well, I mean, if you want to see more, I could put in the R-rated version. I mean, it really sucks, but
That's a
and
great
she's
way
like,
to sell it.
right, yeah, exactly. She's like, okay, fine. So I put in the R-rated version. We watch that, and it ends, and she's like, thank fucking God, that movie sucked. And I'm like, of course it sucked. You made me put in the R-rated version.
It's neutered.
It's completely neutered. So that was really the only kind of bad situation like that. With Jillian, she had seen my show before we started going out, and I think she had asked someone like, "Is he like that in real life?" And they're like, "No, this is a character." So like I think the first movie that I did on the site that she watched with me was Frankenstein Island, and that movie was just bad.
Yeah. Scarlett never asked to see another movie I watched again. She was like really kind of
Highlanders.
not even Highlander. No, she did see when I started making the Highlander videos. She really wanted to understand what I was obsessing about. She's like, "All right, fuck it, let's see Highlander 1," and I'm all happy. I'm like, "Yee!" So I put in Highlander 1, and I'm like saying all the lines. Like I'm trying not to, because I do that. I'll quote the line. I'll quote the whole fucking movie, and I'll ruin it. I'm just that much of an asshole. So I'm sitting there kind of mouthing the line. She's looking at me like, "Are you fucking insane?" And so she says nothing that whole. She's looking at me. She's giving me the look, like 3 or 4 times. She's just looks and just shakes her head. I'm not even really paying attention because I'm going Ramirez and yeah, I'm quoting the fucking Kurgan and shit like that. So, movie's over. I take it out and I go, "So what'd you think?" And she stays very quiet. And she goes, "It was okay, I guess." And I'm like, "Get out!"
Out.
I'm like, "Out, harlot!"
Can't even look at you right now.
You sicken me.
I think the big Jillian likes aside from a lot of the exploitation flicks, which really aren't really her taste. We have the same taste in like comedy and like action well, maybe not comedy, but certainly action movies and horror movies. And I remember the one time though that my heart was kind of broken was when she didn't like Crank. I was like, oh man.
I can kind of picture what she said. She just kind of rolls her eyes and goes, "Oh my God, this is so stupid." She
wasn't really into. I think she's kind of warmed up to it since. I think she likes it better now than because I think I watched that with her like when we first started going out, and when she didn't like it, I was like, oh man, that's how is this possible? You're so hot.
I don't know how to talk to you now.
So, but she liked the second one a lot, and then I think kind of revisited the first one and liked it better.
Oh man, but yeah, she I did not get laid that night. At all.
There was one time when we first started going out, and we first started going out. We're kind of messing around and whatnot. I'm like, I should probably put something on TV on the TV. So at this point, this was I think around when my DVDs were stolen. So the only thing I fucking had sitting there was a copy of Snuff. Like, all right.
Well, watch this, I guess.
Why did you put that movie in? I'm like, it's the only thing I own. My shit was stolen. Trust me, I used to own much better movies. I showed
her Big Trouble in Little China, which is my favorite movie, which she actually did like. But she's like, "I don't see why you obsess over this movie."
Has there ever been a movie that you love, like whenever you're going out with someone, that was always like kind of a deal breaker?
if I'm dating someone they don't like the movie, is it a deal breaker?
Yeah. Or do you get like?
I dated a chick who never saw Star Wars.
Yeah.
I could not relate to her on any level. No, I mean, really, how do you not see Star Wars?
No, I know what you mean, because when I was in early high school, I briefly dated a girl who didn't know who Bruce Willis was. Like, wow.
I'm trying to think, if there's a movie that she didn't like, would I just literally kick her out the door? Now that I think about it, Die Hard would be up there. If you don't like Die Hard, I don't know how to talk to you.
You can't quote Die Hard?
Clue's a good one. Clue would be hard for me to reconcile if you didn't like Clue.
For me, like, I mean, Caligula's my favorite movie, but there's no way I could have that be a deal breaker. That movie's for an acquired taste. You don't like Under Siege 2? We're through here.
See, the thing is, I understand that I have very particular tastes, so I'm like...
I know, that's my thing, too. Like, I have a weird taste. So, a lot of my favorite movies, like, one of my favorite movies of all time is Blue Velvet. And I showed that movie to Jillian, and she so didn't like it. But I was like, well, okay, I can understand you not liking Blue Velvet. It's kind of a rough movie.
Oh, Ghostbusters, that would be one. I don't know if I'd kick you out for not liking Ghostbusters. That would be up there, though. That's on the... Yeah, that would be like, you don't like Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
What? What freak of nature doesn't like Ghostbusters? What is the matter with you? Yeah, I can see that.
But I like Ghost Dad.
I think you're saintly for putting up with Jillian's love of Twilight, but...
She likes the books, but she doesn't like the movies.
Yeah. I do know one thing that honestly, if she didn't like it, if she came right out and said she didn't like something, I would be really upset. If she watched Mystery Science Theater and outright said, "This is horseshit,"
oh, that would be rough for me. Yeah,
that I don't think I would get over that.
I don't think I could either. 'Cause that's my favorite show of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be rough.
If you can't at least appreciate making fun of a movie, ironically, like I can see not liking the movies, but if she watched MST3K and she was like, "Why don't those three just shut the fuck up?" I'd be like,
"They're ruining this movie."
I'd be like, "I'm seriously about to do a domestic violence on you right now." Like, I don't hit girls, but I'm about to. Like,
somebody in the chat asked if the person I was with loved Boondock Saints, which Jillian loves that movie.
I could see, honestly, that wouldn't be a deal breaker. I can see, because I can see why people like Boondock Saints. I do.
I'm the same way with the first one. Like, I agree that the second one, no. The first one, I agree with you on that.
Other things, if it's too much for me to ask for a girl to have ever seen Babylon 5, which is my favorite sci-fi show of all time. So, like, if she's like, I'd never seen Babylon 5, but if she said it was horseshit, I would kick her out. Yeah, now that I think about it, there's a few movies where if the credits rolled and she turned to me and was like, "That was the biggest waste of time I ever seen in my fucking life," I'd be like, "You need to leave now." MST3K would be it.
Yeah.
Back to the Future. Who does not like Back to the Future?
Yeah.
That's really hard for me to wrap my head around.
Uh-huh. I mean, maybe... I don't...
Yeah, exactly. Could you see that? Like, if Jillian turned to you after Back to the Future and was like, "What the fuck was that?" She'd be like,
somebody in our age group and older, I can't even. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around even being in that situation.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't like Back to the Future, were they born past 1990 or something?
Back to the Future is one of those movies where, Big Trouble in Little China is my favorite movie, but it's not the best one. There are very few movies that are essentially perfect.
Yeah.
Back to the Future is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever thought about what I would consider the best movie to be. I mean, yeah, my favorite's Caligula.
no, I'm not
It's not
talking like I'm not talking in terms of like better than every other movie ever made. I'm not talking like best screenplay, best acting. I'm just talking
okay.
if you watch this movie, there is nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't say that about Caligula.
yeah, I can't even think. Ghostbusters. There's probably some stuff that could have been better in Ghostbusters, but it's that Ghostbusters is one of those movies where you watch that and there's almost no way you can watch that movie and not like it.
Yeah.
I just really don't see that.
Yeah. If they hate the first one and love the second one,
Yeah, well, it's hard for me to. I honestly think like if a girl turned to me and said like, "Oh, Back to the Future sucked balls," I'd be like, I would really actually I wouldn't kick her out. I would try to understand it. I'd be like,
yeah.
really, explain.
Or if
Hang on, let me get this on tape because I need you to explain this shit to me.
yeah, I'm gonna put this up on the site.
This is going to be a case study. I'm going to make millions diagnosing your psychosis.
Or if someone doesn't like the Indiana Jones movies, but they loved Crystal Skull.
Ugh.
I don't know. It was so much better. It was more like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, Indiana Jones is another one of those movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark especially, where I look at that movie and I go, like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
this is like the perfect action movie, action adventure flick. You can't, I wouldn't change a thing,
Mm-hmm. Oh, someone in the chat said they don't like Temple of Doom. That one's actually my favorite.
Yeah, Temple of Doom is my favorite. I'm planning on doing a video of movies I love that everyone else hates.
Yeah.
And Temple of Doom is probably going to be number 2 or number 1.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why. But it really gets shit upon.
Mm-hmm.
Temple of Doom gets shat on like no other sequel I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, before Crystal Skull came out, I mean, yeah, the second one always got shit. Not so much anymore after the fourth one came out.
It wasn't even one. It wasn't even questioned. Like if somebody said, "What's the worst Indiana Jones movie?" they'd go, "Temple of Doom," no question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" It was that obvious. It was like immediate. They go, "Temple of Doom sucked," and I go, "What?"
The second one's the only one that doesn't follow the same formula as the other movies, as the first one.
Fucking Temple of Doom is brilliant.
Temple of Doom is fucking great.
I actually get a lot of weird looks when I say that. When I say Temple of Doom is great, people look at me like I'm out of my fucking mind. There's actually a lot of stuff. I'm actually surprised at the support this movie's getting in the chat room because I honestly expect a lot of people to go, "What?"
The second one?
Yeah. I think I got a lot of fans in here, so they're not willing to disagree with me. But
I did see a couple of people on there say that it sucked. Just like one or two. I think a lot of people don't rag on the second one as much anymore after Crystal Skull came out.
yeah.
I love Willie Scott.
Yeah. Hypno fun. Fuck you. Well, yes, Sean, we're still going, but we're probably gonna wrap it up now because I'm sure you got stuff to do, Brad.
Me, I got all my work done early.
Yeah, I gotta edit. I just finished shooting the last thing for Final Fantasy X-2, so I'm gonna edit that. Actually, I'm gonna get something to eat first. I'm gonna edit.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if there are any extra features on these Rocky DVDs. It doesn't look like it. It looks like they're all bare bones. If there's anything on these, it's not. The sixth one has a lot of extras on it.
What do you think we should talk about next time? We could go the Rambo series, but that'd be kind of redundant.
There's I'm looking at my shelf right now. What series? I got the Die Hards up there.
Die Hard would be okay.
Yeah, I've got the Die Hards up there. I've got
RoboCop. There's the RoboCop series.
Yeah. I do have the RoboCops up there. I've got the Friday the 13th, the Halloweens, the
I'm not talking about no chat room. I'm not talking about Highlander. I talked Highlander to death. I have seriously killed Highlander and killed it twice.
Nah.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I've got the Elm Street box set.
It's been a long time since I've seen the Elm Street movies. Wow, it's been a while.
It's been a while since I've seen. It's been a while since I've seen like 5 and 6.
Yeah, I saw New Nightmare like last year, but it's been a long time since I saw 2 through 5 or whatever.
The other ones I remember enough about. Namely like the first one and the second one, even the third one. But do you want me to email you this audio?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, no problem. I'll convert the file down to a MP3 and get that sent off to you.
Okay. Yeah, chat room. Somebody asked if I was going to do a making of video series like the Angry Nerd did with his. Believe it or not, I have shot a video that's almost identical to what he did. That kind of describes my video making process from beginning to end. I don't know that I want to release it though, because actually James and I have very similar approaches to the video making. He actually has he has a much more professional setup. He probably has a better camera, and a lot of his special event videos, like the Rob the Robot, are much more involved because he's probably more technically proficient than I am. But our process is really quite similar. So yeah, I have shot something, but I was even just listening to what I was saying and kind of looking at the footage. I go, I would honestly just suggest listening to James' video.
I'm planning on shooting something like that too, because we're gonna put out like a DVD on the public domain episodes.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have a lot more extras than just that, because really my process, it's not all that interesting. It's me sitting here with the laptop and a document open, movie playing on the TV, typing down notes, then writing it.
Well, James did a great job on his video describing the process, because it was actually very well edited. He got a lot of footage of him. He basically did literally walk you through the process of making a review, which even the one I didn't really do. I just kind of filmed it while the camera was out, and I was recording Final Fantasy X too. And I was like, his video is pretty much better than anything I would have done. Mm-hmm. Just because it really is better produced. I'm actually kind of jealous of how good it was produced, but James usually has better production values than I do. So I would really just recommend watching his, because his work process is very similar to mine, and really I was impressed at how exciting he made it look out to be, because his process is a lot like mine, and my process is not really all that exciting. I basically open up the footage, I play it. When I think of something that's worth taking a note on, I pause the footage, I make a time code, I make a note.
Yeah.
And I really just go through the whole movie like that, where I pause, time code, note, pause, time code, note. And it takes me about 4 to 6 hours to get through a movie that way. From there, I look at my spreadsheet of time codes, and I write the script using the time codes. And I have a shorthand for the script. I tend to arrange the script in a very visual manner, where I have basically all the beats laid out, where I'm doing voiceover. I have a special shorthand for stuff that's on camera. I have a shorthand for stuff that's voiceover, and I have a shorthand for when I want specific clips to kind of interrupt my narration.
It's gotten to the point for me where I don't have to write down the time code anymore. The movies I watch are usually pretty short anyway, and I just remember where it's at. I just remember where stuff's at in the movie. The only time I really have to kind of pause is if I know that there should be a joke in this and I'm having trouble coming up with something.
Yeah. Um,
and I have to pause because really because when I'm and I'm sure it's the same with you too. When the movie's on, I'm kind of doing a riff in my head,
mhm.
and then just typing down whatever's coming to me.
Yeah. So I think really the only thing that would be of interest in a making of video is, I mean, I could show you around where I shoot. Like, I could show you the bedroom in which I shoot, and I can show you. I took footage of the boom microphone that I have over my chair. I took footage of the camera that I use and the microphone I use, and I could tell you what cameras and what microphones I use. I could show you the green screen studio.
That'd be cool.
Well, it's I guess. I mean, I took footage of it, but again, it's just really, I'd just be repeating what James had to say because our approach is so similar. The biggest difference, I think, in our approach is that he has a lot of help. Like, he has a guy named Mike who helps him take notes. He also has a guy who can help shooting. I really don't have anyone that can help me with shooting, which is why his production values are probably a little better because, when he does the Bugs Bunny birthday blowout, he beat up Bugs Bunny. He had a guy who he could kind of throw around.
I got Jared.
Yeah, you got Jared. You can kind of throw around. I got Miles. Miles is game. Miles is pretty game for pretty much anything I do, but he doesn't have a lot of time on his hands, and so I only tend to. He's going to be involved in Final Fantasy X too, but probably not in a huge way. Like, I only tend to use him as a body double for, like, the the Sasquatch headless thing. But yeah, that's actually one thing I really need to do is try to get some. It would really help if I had some kind of crew just to help me. I honestly think for James, even the making of video, he probably had help shooting that, just setting up the lighting. Because if you look at the making of video, even the stuff where he's just talking directly at the camera is lit really well.
Oh,
like when I'm shooting it, I was looking at the stuff I was shooting in front of my computer where I'm describing the editing process I go through and what software I use and just what editing software I use, and the lighting near my computer in terms of like looking at it on camera is actually very bad.
Yeah.
So you'll actually see it whenever I do a movie review or like even a wrestle, which I've done in front of the camera. There's a light like 3 feet directly over my head, and it's really awkward looking. It's just not very photogenic when I do this, and so no, I know in the video James says he does it pretty much himself most of the time. But he still does have a friend he can call over, like, any time he needs help. Like, I need a handheld shot, or I need someone I can throw around, or I need someone who can kind of do puppetry with Rob the Robot, or kind of throw cables around and stuff like that. Just having that is a huge advantage, and one that I really don't have. Let's say you want to have someone run in and punch you in the face, or let's say you want to have something kind of move on its own, or just something weird. You can call Jared anytime. He's upstairs.
Yeah.
I just don't have that. And whereas I know James does pretty much everything himself because the setup for his videos most of the time is pretty simple, as is mine. Yeah. He can pretty much call Mike over anytime he wants. And there you go. I can probably call Miles over anytime I want. For some reason, I just don't like to. It's not really his thing, I guess.
I'm pretty lucky in that regards because Jared loves doing it, and if Jared's busy on Warcraft or whatever, Brian and Sarah are just a block away.
Yeah, I mean, it's so awesome. You have several people that you can literally pick up the phone and say, hey, Spoony wants to dress us all in diapers and shoot us in the yard. And Brian, with basically no questions asked, goes, I'm in. And, like, he comes down. And, I don't really have people who do that.
I should have done a making of type video like in my early episodes. Like, here's my lighting. There isn't any.
Now I sit on the floor and I turn all the lights off. Because nobody looks at me.
Yeah, no one can see what I really look like.
I saw one episode where I think it's the Killer Fridge movie where you have no goatee. or beard of any kind. You look weird.
I'm trying to think of what, because I grew the goatee. I wonder what the first review was where I had the goatee, because for the first year or so, for the first year and a half, 2 years, I didn't have it. And I grew it for a friend's movie. I was playing some bad guy or something, I can't remember, but I grew the goatee for it, and the movie never got finished, but I liked it so much I just kept it.
Yeah. But, I need to think about the making of video, because honestly, in terms of the early phases of the process, you know, playing the game, I even use the same process he does to capture footage.
Yeah.
You know, when he wants to capture Nintendo or he wants to capture a console footage, my setup even looks almost identical to James's. It's not like I copied him. It's just that we do the same thing and we basically approach things the exact same way.
Yeah.
You know, I even asked him at one point, you know, how do you, like, I do this to capture footage, what do you do? And he goes, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So when he captures footage, he pretty much captures all his footage on a DVD recorder. It's really the easiest way.
For games.
For games and VHS. Yeah. And I mean, I have a DVR that I hook up to my computer. I have a Dazzle.
Yeah.
They work, but I don't like to use them just because the DVD recorder is a relatively foolproof method for me, and it gives me a hard copy of the raw data.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I can archive, and it has never gone wrong. Whereas the PVR has failed on me several times, and that would really suck if I played for a game for like 2 hours, and I go back and check, and the PVR crapped out. So really, yeah, I mean, when it comes to pre-production, DVD recorder. I watch the footage, I take notes, I take my notes, I write a script based on the notes. That's it. You know, it's
Yeah, with me, I just upload the DVD onto the computer. I don't have right now. I don't have a means to transfer VHS onto the computer, but
DVD recorder.
Yeah, I need to get one of those.
Some DVD recorders do this thing where if you have a copyrighted VHS, it actually has some kind of signal written on it, and it won't copy.
Well, I mainly need to do it because there's one movie that I did called Midnight Heat that's not on the site yet, and it's one because I can't transfer it to the computer, and also I need to get it. I need to get it on there so I can fiddle with some sound issues on it.
But yeah, damn, James did a good version of that video though. Have you seen James's making of?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
It's good. It's really well shot. And really, I make the process sound boring. He actually makes it sound like he's telling anecdotes and shit like that. I'm like, wow, he's doing an awesome job explaining this, and you know, kind of intercutting it with footage of him doing the process and talking about, you know, what like the things that go on in his head when he's writing jokes. And I'm like, shit, I just really, my script writing process is, once I've taken notes, I open up a blank Word document, and I proceed to stare at this blank Word document for about an hour. That's about how it starts, you know?
Yeah, it's always the first paragraph that's the fucking hardest.
Yeah, because I can never figure out how to start the review. Once I get started, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting started is always hard. So I will stare at, I've stared at a blank Word document for a day, like an entire day, just trying to figure out how to start it.
Yeah.
So just watch. I mean, at Con Bravo, when I go to Con Bravo on late July, I actually do have a panel where I talk about it's called How I Got Started. And,
oh, nice.
And how you can get started doing the game review. So that'll really be my making of video. I mean, I'll tell you how I got started, which was I started really poorly. You know, I started actually not writing scripts. I started just kind of slapping together footage and literally narrating it live.
Yeah.
Which the Bayou Billy one is pretty much narrated live, without any kind of script, which is ridiculous. Which is something I would never do now. So, you know, I started off recording footage really poorly. I started off using emulators, which I would never suggest you do. I started off using a PVR, which I would never suggest you do. you know,
Yeah, the only time that I did a game video was the 80s Dan one, and I used an emulator for that.
yeah, emulators are actually really bad at capturing footage, because if you look at the Robin Hood video I did, I used that for an emulator, and the footage it collects, the footage emulators collect tends to be really graphically corrupted sometimes, and it also tends to compress the shit out of the footage to the point where most editing software doesn't even know what to do with it.
Well, the problem that I had, it looked fine, but the audio went out of sync. And
Yeah.
I had to correct that quite a bit.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That was the problem that I had with the emulator. When mine were always scripted, but it was different. Like in the first, when I was on YouTube, for the majority when I was on YouTube, they were written more like a typical non-linear Ebert style review.
Yeah, you didn't really tackle the plot in order.
Yeah, they were written more like you'd see in like a newspaper review. One, because that was just how I did it, and two, because of time, because at the time you couldn't go over 10 minutes, and if I did it linear, it'd be way too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I got over to Blip, I started doing them linear style.
What I would like to do, I actually would like to see how James shot his making of video, because I was really impressed with the cinematography. It sounds silly, but
The making of video.
yeah, no, it was good, because he showed himself getting footage of, like, just kind of B-roll stuff, like putting the game in the machine, the lighting setup he did, and just all sorts of good stuff. He got footage of him writing the script and stuff like that, and that's just the sort of stuff that maybe it's laziness on my part, where, like, for me to do that, I would have to stop what I'm saying, set up the camera, and, like, just, I hate moving the tripod, I guess. I'm very Kevin Smith in that way, where I'm like, I got the tripod set up, I'm talking at the camera now, I'm not moving it. So
I'm with you on that, especially since my tripod sucks.
And so, well, the other thing is, every time the camera angle shifts, the lighting is perfect. Mm-hmm. So every time he moved the tripod, he moved his lights. I'm like, damn, he cares. He really did shoot a very good making of video, and I was really impressed as hell.
Yeah.
What I would like to do, if I was going to do a making of video, even though I've already kind of spent 2 hours shooting one, I would really like to, if somebody was available to do camera, just to run the camera for me.
Yeah.
And kind of just follow me along as I talk about the process and kind of zoom in on the screen and just kind of get the B-roll for me. And maybe just kind of like take a day.
Yeah.
And get the supplementary footage, so where it's more naturalistic. You can hear me kind of explaining my thoughts on the fly as I'm writing a script.
Yeah.
It just it kind of makes me not nervous, but it's not naturalistic when I'm like, and now I will take you through my script writing process, and then I load up a script, and I honestly think it would be much better if you kind of got me off the cuff, kind of explaining my thought process as I'm shooting, or actually shooting footage of me recording a video and getting blown takes and getting my rehearsal process. Because I do go through rehearsal process. I very rarely use cue cards. I do use them very rarely, but almost never. You've only maybe caught me once using a cue card on camera. And I could actually point it. I can't remember what video it is, but you can actually see me very clearly look off camera. I hate looking at it. There's a few times where you actually see me looking off camera and people think I'm looking at cue cards, but I am not. It's actually clones of Bruce Lee. For some reason, my eye contact is just all over the place in that video. And people are like, are you reading cue cards? And I'm like, no!
There's like someone asked me that one time. I've never used cue cards before. I break up the on camera stuff good enough to where I can memorize it really quickly. But I've never used cue cards before. The only time that I have to, it isn't for me. It's usually Jared has to use them. But sometimes one person asked me one time if I was using one, and it was just when I was looking off to the left side at the TV, like I was looking at the TV.
Well, what happened to me was I framed my own shots because I'm the only crew. So I turn the flip screen around, the LCD around, so I can frame myself in the shot. And I had a really bad habit, and I still kind of do, to where I tend to look at myself in the LCD, and it's not vanity. It's just because, for some reason, I keep making sure that I'm framed in the shot right. Like, for some reason, I'm going to leap radically out of shot. I don't know why. But, like...
I do that, too. And that's probably more to my ADD than anything else, because my eyes are drawn to it. But
yeah, it's
the
just
camera...
It's a bright light, and I look at it, It's...
Yeah. The camera is far enough away from me sometimes that you can't tell, and I'm wearing those big stupid glasses, so you can't really tell that I'm looking a little bit off at the viewer.
So honestly, I should probably tell that when I do my panel. That would have been a good story for me to tell on the making of video. If someone had a camera on me, that wouldn't happen. But really, I honestly, maybe somebody should just like, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Maybe if somebody was just around for like one day, maybe even Miles, I could like if Miles is doing nothing, I'd just be like, just follow me around as I shoot this video, and
I need you to follow me with the camera for 24 hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe if he's up to it, I'd be like, just follow me around and shoot me as I dress up in silly fucking costumes and do this shit and telling just because those stories occur to me off the cuff, just the weird things I do when I'm shooting cameras. The reason I don't use cue cards is not because I think I'm super proud or I'm super smart or like I don't use cue cards. No, I'll use cue cards when I have to.
Yeah.
Like every time we do a crossover, I'm using cue cards, and that's just because of time. We don't really have time to rehearse.
Yeah, I've had that's true. I did that a couple of times in Sage, in this crossover I did with Sage.
But I'm really my own worst enemy when it comes to the cue cards because I write for myself these insanely long on-camera speeches.
Yeah.
Where I'm just ranting and raving and cursing and spewing out these really complex turns of phrase, and I can't cut away just because of the way the sentence is organized. So, like, I will, like, especially this Final Fantasy X too, I have like 3 or 4 speeches like that where I spout off like 6 or 7 complete sentences where I'm just raving and mad, and I can't do it looking at a cue card because it's obvious that I'm looking at a cue card, and I find my performance isn't as natural when I'm reading off a cue card.
Yeah.
So I'm actually very OCD and kind of perfectionist when it comes to that. So I will probably spend like a half hour to 45 minutes on those speeches just trying to get it memorized and trying to get the performance the way I want it. Because when it comes off as phony, it comes off as really phony. And so, like, I do these things where I kind of get really, really mad and I'm screaming, I'm raving. And I have to do 3 or 4 takes even when I do it right.
Yeah.
Just to get the anger level where I think it should be. And so, I do way too many takes. I do. But fuck it, I'm running the camera, so what do you care? Like,
I started, doing freaking exploitation flicks. So I usually do just give it one take. Unless like
movies
I said.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, unless of course I'm like, oh, I could probably say that. I could probably say or do that better. Then I'll give it a couple of takes. But usually I'm kind of a one take Charlie.
For movies, yeah, I actually don't tend to insist on multiple takes. I was actually insisting on Doug do more takes, but usually not many times. Doug was usually like 2 takes and we're done.
Yeah,
which is pretty rare actually for a director to be 2 takes and we're done. But
that's how I am.
I would always give it the way it was written. I would give it the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah,
and then I would do it kind of off the wall. Where I'm kind of where I basically chew the scenery take. And what's funny is Doug would always say, "Do it the way I wrote it," and so I'd be like, "Okay, I do it the way he wrote it, and I do it well. I'm not tanking it. I'm not tanking the take. I do it the way he wants to hear it. I do it the way I think it should be done, and then I chew the scenery. But yet, for some reason, every time I do the chew the scenery take, that's the one Doug uses.
I used one of your alternate takes for the Caligula video. When you say I'm gonna get a couple of ferrets and have them do things.
Oh
for
yeah,
me,
yeah. I gotta have them do things.
That was I can't even remember what the scripted line was.
I think it was like, I'm gonna have the ferrets and I'm gonna take a roll of paper towels and stick them up my ass or something like that. I'm like,
no, that was your final alternate take where you're like, I'm gonna get a couple of ferrets and shove them up my ass.
yes.
I ended up using one of the alternates for that. Like, well, that works.
You're like, yeah, it's Caligula.
Yeah.
I remember Drew Wario used to take two where I start talking about how he like kicks mothers down and fucks them in the alley and like like he steals money from crippled people and he I don't know. he kills dogs just for fun and he sells them to Mexican restaurants and like just horrible stuff. I'm going off on this huge tangent, which is like the bizarre take. I always give you a bizarre take at the end, just in case you're like you just want something to laugh. I usually just do it so you laugh at it, but
yeah.
So yeah, but I usually in terms of dramatic, I'm good. 3 takes and I'm pretty much done. If I blow the take, I'll give you another take, but yeah, it really just in terms of reviews, I do the most takes. There's one where you'll hear a take where I scream, "Fuck that shit pistol." I did like 13 takes of that fucking speech where I scream, "Fuck that shit pistol." You'll know because you'll hear that's the first line. I go, "Titus, fuck that shit pistol," and yeah, I probably screamed "fuck that shit pistol" 16 times. It must have been.
Yeah, there was the one that I can think of where I did a lot of takes in a line for a review was I forget the review, but there's one where I say, "See you at the party, Richter." I think that might have been in like Bloody New Year or something, but I did that Total Recall line, and I ended up doing it like 10 times, I think, and woke Jillian up.
See you at the party, Richter. It's not Titus. It's fucking Titus. Fuck your ass.
Titus? What?
The original Japanese translation is Titus.
Oh, okay.
And fuck that. It's Titus. His name is meant to be kind of... I don't even know what the word is when it's supposed to be... His name is supposed to relate to the fucking water because he's a swimmer. Titus. It's Titus. It's not Titus.
It's not Christopher Titus.
It's like... There's these fucking assholes. I was watching this anime called Hellsing, which is about a vampire. And the vampire's name is Alucard, because it's Dracula spelled backwards. And I made a vlog where I mentioned Alucard, and I got this fucking snob who posed a comment on my fucking website where he goes, "Well, actually, if you follow the OVAs, it's Arucard. With an R." And I'm like, I went off on this guy. I fucking teed off on his ass. I was like, fuck your mother, fuck your ancestors, and fuck you. It's Alucard, okay? It's Dracula backwards. What kind of fucking idiot doesn't know it's Alucard? Arucard, fuck you. And like, I completely just denounced this guy for like a half hour. Going like, you make me sick. I would kill you if I saw you with a shovel. And he's like, "Oh, no, but it's in the manga. It's Arucard." I'm like,
The only time that I ever kind of get annoyed is when, like, for instance, I think it was last weekend where a trending topic on Twitter was R.I.P. Jim Morrison.
yeah.
I guess it was like the 40th anniversary of his death or something. So I see R.I.P. Jim Morrison, and I was like, well, that's random. So I typed in on Twitter, like, what? Holy shit, Jim Morrison died? Or something like that. Sure enough, I get, like, several comments that are like, yeah, you fucking dumbass. He died in fucking 1971. Are you fucking retarded?
Moron.
Like, really? I know that Jim Morrison died in 1971.
There was this one great line in Suburban Nights where Juwario goes, "I want to know what happened to Reagan." I was like, why did you cut that? That was an awesome line.
Where was that in the movie?
When we're watching the news report about Jaffer's disappearance,
Oh,
and
okay. Oh, right.
the guy goes, and in other news, someone took a shot at, President Reagan, and he turns it off, and Juwar's like, but why? I want to see what happened.
Yeah. Um. Honestly, I think that line should have been left in there because without it, it's not that obvious that that's supposed to be in the 1980s.
The worst line that was cut, I think, was when Handsome Tom maces the witch, he cuts the line out where he explains what it is.
Yeah, because that actually took me a while to realize what he did.
And I've had a few people say, like, what happened there? Like, what did he do? Like, he maced her, and but he has mace, and I'm like, there's a line where he says, what did you do? And Tom goes, is that mace? And Tom goes, well, if Willow had it, he would have used it, or something like that. Yeah. And so I was like, that really should have stayed in there.
You really should have, because when I watched it with Jillian and Brian and Sarah, it was the same thing. We sat there for like 5 minutes, like, and I was kind of in my head like, well, maybe like, this is when we watched the rough cut of it, and I was like, well, maybe it's explained better when it's all put together or something like that.
Yeah, maybe Doug just wanted him to keep with the I'm Willow thing, where that's all he said, but I don't know.
Hey, me gosh!
Looks like a Darkini baby. The last thing she's gonna want is a hairy chest.
There was the only line that I had that was cut, which I completely understand why, was Doug, I guess, thought that I was going to be wearing the snob glasses in the movie, and I can't wear those for an extended period of time.
And probably the prescription's probably bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little bit off from what I usually wear. It's like minorly off. But I mean, I just wore my regular glasses. I wore my regular glasses in Kick-Assia, so I just wore my regular glasses in this one. I guess he thought I was going to be wearing the snob glasses, so he wrote a line in there where it's when we're watching the news thing, and I make fun of the newscaster for his glasses. Had to keep in. That's the box of a carpenter.
Oh, I hate that line so much.
That was.
I was not ready for that line. I'd read the script, but I'd forgotten that line was in there. So when you said that, I shoot you this look like, what?
you did. It cuts. You shoot me this look like, you're like, Bradley. And I'm like, I look at you, I'm like, I didn't write it.
Like, that is so dumb. That is the box. What does that even mean?
What's so funny is, that's the box of a carpenter. There's only one way to find out. I had to do that line like 12 times, I think, because that was the take where...
everyone was walking around upstairs.
And also, that was the one where Luke had that like kind of big line that...
It wasn't even that big a line. It was like, according to legend, this is where the voice of the ancient world is kept, and he just could not say that line.
Eventually, yeah, we had to give him the script so he could look off of that. So I had to do that. That's the box of a carpenter.
We were getting kind of frustrated with him. Like, we weren't really trying to. Like, we were just kind of like, come on, Luke, really? Like, This is not that hard a line. And he was just like, for some reason, that line was cursed, and he could not spit it out. I guess we've all had lines like that, but...
Yeah, there's always, and it's always something minor like that. At least it is for me. Like, there will be a line or two, in something that I'm doing every once in a while that I just get freaking tripped up on, and it won't necessarily be because it's long. It'll be because just for some. There was actually a take in Suburban Nights that I had to do like 3 or 4 times. It was when me and Juwario were walking, and we're doing the back and forth.
Oh, like I could whip 30 or 40 children with this, like something like that.
Yeah, it's a whip now. He had us do all of that straight through, and there was like one line in there that kept tripping me up, and I had to do it like about 3 or 4 times. They weren't even that long of lines.
No. For me, the biggest one for a long time was, for some reason, I can't say the word Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Whenever you'll hear it in Mazes and Monsters, I'll say Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I just my diction is so bad when I go Dungeons and Dragons, and it just all runs together. And even when I'm trying to stop myself, I go Dungeons and Dragons.
I do that too. That's Dungeons and Dragons. That's how I say it too.
I think I actually rewrote one. I was getting so frustrated because I had a fairly lengthy paragraph on camera where I say Dungeons and Dragons. See, I just did it again, and I'm like,
yeah,
I really want to say Dungeons and Dragons, and I think I just rewrote it as saying D&D. But I did like 7 takes, and I should have kept the take because eventually I'd go, God damn it! And say the line right.
I have to, whenever I actually get mad, like, I have to take a breather. I have to, if I actually get mad at something, or if I'm fucking up some line so bad that I actually start getting mad, like, I actually have to take a breather, because it's hard for me to do it when I actually am mad.
You'll hear it when I do the video. The shit pistol paragraph I had to do a bunch of times because I kept fucking it up. It was a long paragraph and I kept blowing it like the sentence before the last one. So I was like, I think the line was, and do you really care what this tattooed fart burglar thinks, and like that? And I could never say that line. So I got through this huge speech, and I go, do you really care what this? What? Fuck, I can't. What did I say? It was some stupid line. You know, like, who wrote this shit? That's actually the thing I always say whenever I blow a take. I never really crack up on camera because it's just me, and so there's nobody to crack up with. So
Same here.
I just kind of, when I blow a take, I just go, "Bleh, fuck." Like every time I just go fuck, and I just kind of turn away and kind of compose myself again. But usually, if I'm really getting mad, I go, "Who wrote this shit?"
Yeah, I'll go, God fucking damn it! If I'm like really mad, I'll go, fuck. But yeah, if I blow something, yeah, I'm kind of this blow a take. I'm kind of the same way. I'm like so then he walked into the like that, and then I'll like a second later I'll start the line again.
I gotta find out what the line was because I fucking blew this line 100 times. What was it? Open faster. Come on. My hard drive needs to spin up. It starts, fuck that shit pistol, I hate Titus. Anyone with a working gag reflex has hated that whining fudge catcher. And then it goes on for like 2 more sentences, and then I say, what is it, fuck, oh, it's a different, I cracked me up. Oh, where is it? Where is this? This line is funny. Hang on. Ow. Bad. I know that had the Al bed shit in it. Oh, well, fuck it. Dungeons and Dragons. Damn it.
Dungeons and Dragons. That's how I say it too. I say, I guess not that I say Dungeons and Dragons a lot because I don't play, but whenever I do, I say it the same way.
Where is this line? God damn it. Go digging in the Bicknell Desert. Oh, okay. Why didn't I do that? Go digging in the Bicknell Desert. Go digging in my shit for corn.
Go digging in my shit for corn.
I say, do you really think this guy is spilling some mind-blowing secrets to fucking enlightenment in this scene to war in a second playthrough? Fuck you. Fuck your busy work. I could never, for some reason, that took me like 30 takes to do. Although I did crack up at saying, go digging in my shit for corn.
I've only used like maybe 3 outtakes from the Snob. One was when I was in some kind of monologue or something, and the phone started ringing, and I was like, fuck. Another when I slipped on that bench.
Oh, that looks like it fucking hurt.
That killed my fucking shoulder. Oh my fucking god! Like, Jared cut the camera right before like it started hurting because I slipped, jumped up, and kind of laughed and was like, cut, and then he cut.
Ah!
And yeah, I was like, I turned and go, fuck, that was real. Because it didn't hurt my leg. I slipped off, but I didn't hit my leg on the thing. I hit like my elbow, which made my shoulder pop up, and it hurt my shoulder. And the next take, I had to like climb up a ladder, and God, that fucking hurt. I also used the outtake too when I had to lick the Nintendo.
Sharon says the best outtake you ever did is when you punched that female critic in the face.
You
mean this one?
Want her to do something else with me?
God, I felt so bad.
Are you okay?
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I guess that one was the best outtake. I used the outtake with me licking the Nintendo because I didn't count on it being so covered with dust.
I love the grin on her face the second before that happened.
I'll wipe that smile off your face.
The fuck up.
Why the fuck are you so happy? I've been doing this shit for 4 years.
The worst I ever got hurt on a shoot was when Angry Joe punched me in the face with my own fist.
What was that in?
That was in the Epic Brawl. You weren't in that. That was the first year where it's the critic versus the angry video game nerd.
Yeah.
And so we both take sides. And so there's a scene where Joe grabs me by the fist and starts punching me in the face with my own fist. Mm-hmm. But what he didn't know was as he was doing that, he knocked me out.
Yeah.
So he's punching me in the face, and all of a sudden I collapse. And he's like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. So, and actually I was fine.
Yeah.
But it was just, he did feel bad. It wasn't that he hurt me. It's just that when you take a shot, sometimes that you're not ready for, you can get knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
kind of disorient you a bit.
So I took a shot that I really wasn't expecting to actually get hit in the face. So he hit me in the face, and all of a sudden there was like a fifth of like a half second where I'm like, I'm on the floor now. Whoa.
Yeah.
But my head was fine. I was clear-headed the rest of the day. Yeah.
I've always been pretty lucky in terms of injury. Like anytime I've had an injury, it's pretty minor. Like, I hurt my knee like on Freak Out, but it was kind of minor. And and even like that stupid nick I got on my finger in Kick-Assia.
That was profuse bleeding there.
Jesus, bled more than fucking Tim Roth and Reservoir Dogs.
Actually, the worst I ever got hurt on a shoot was the 2010 donation drive.
That was when you broke your foot.
I broke
right?
my foot just walking off fucking Doug's porch.
Oh,
I just put my foot down and there was like a pop like bubble wrap.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh dear Lord, that hurt." And I broke my foot, and it was like, I wasn't playing. I like to tell people I got in a fight, but I totally kicked his ass, right? But no, I didn't. My foot just popped, and it was horrible because I broke it in the exact place you never want to break your foot.
Oh, I remember you telling me about that. The doctor told you it was.
Yeah, he's like if there's a place you don't want to break your foot, you just did it there. because he goes, there's no blood vessels to go that specific part of the foot, so it will not heal on its own.
Yeah.
So I have to go in there and put fucking pins in it. So we had to go in surgically, and that sucked.
Yeah, I need to go somewhere to get my foot looked at.
What happened to your foot? Oh, you broke your foot too?
That was when I was at that con. I was at that con, and it was late at night, or it was like maybe 2 a.m. or something, and we were staying at an apartment complex, and we decided to go swimming at 2 a.m. and I was the only sober one, which is fucking great. I'm the one who got injured. So we leaped over the fence to get into the pool, and I leaped over the fence and landed on the ground, like toes pointed straight down.
Mm-hmm.
So just bam. And it hurt, yeah, but it pretty much instantly went numb. So that's when I was like, oh, I think I probably broke something, because this, like, instantly it went fucking numb. And
Okay, hang on a second. I got to confront the chat room here. People are saying I'm always getting injured. I only got injured one time. That was the broken foot. Now I was laid up for a while with that. I admit that. That was actually a much more serious injury than even I thought.
Yeah.
Just because I had to have surgery, and that put me down for like 2 months. But
yeah, you didn't get injured on Kickassia or Suburban Nights.
I made it through Kickassia. I was fine. I made it through Suburban Nights. I got really sick. I got the Luke Mockery plague. But
yeah, we both did.
That kicked my ass for 2 weeks. That did.
I usually for me there's like 2 days. There's like 2 days or so where I'm just fucking sick, and then after that, I'm okay. Like, I'm still suffering some repercussions of it. Like, my ear will be kind of clogged, and I might be a little nasally, but I'm more or less kind of fine.
So
but
you mentioned your foot. Did that ever heal up, or is it still bothering you?
No, I couldn't afford to get it looked at. I need to actually go somewhere to. I need to actually go somewhere to get it looked at.
How long ago was this?
This was a year and a half, maybe.
Oh shit.
Something like that.
Even if, well,
what did somebody suggest to me? Like, did you suggest?
Okay. Here's the thing with what you've got. Odds are that whatever you broke has kind of healed, but probably healed badly.
Yeah.
So it still hurts. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad does it hurt?
Not very. I can move my foot just fine.
But do you usually walk with a limp though?
No.
Not really?
No. If I like push on it or something, I can tell that there's like something wrong in there, and I can it can have some soreness if I push on it, but if it's just on its own, and I can move my toes and it doesn't hurt me.
Okay.
But I definitely need to get it because when I move my toes, I mean, if I put my finger on the area that got injured and I move my toes, it doesn't feel right.
Okay. I'm thinking what happened was it probably has healed as well as it's going to on its own, which is to say not very well.
Yeah.
It probably does deserve some attention depending on where you broke it. I don't know where it was. All they probably would have done is put you in a foot cast, but I think you did need to be immobilized for a little while. Now, I don't know what they do. What I suggested for Jared anyway, because he had that trick knee, he's still kind of dealing with his knee.
Yeah.
What they do at certain pharmacies and even certain family practice doctors, you might just kind of call around and ask if you're uninsured what they would charge for just kind of a consultation.
Yeah, I'm uninsured.
You actually might look into getting insurance on your own. Like I'm self-insured. I have Aetna.
Yeah.
And they'll ask you if you have pre-existing conditions. I think you have the epilepsy, but as long as you come right out and say that, they'll I don't know. It'll be expensive. I mean, it'll be a few $100 a month. But I don't know. For that peace of mind, I'm not sure. That's not to say it's going to be free even if you do get insurance, because when I had the surgery, that was a bitch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You probably get a break on medicine if nothing else. The epilepsy medicine can't be cheap.
The epilepsy medicine is okay. The epilepsy medicine is like $50.
Well, anyway, what I suggested and something that we used to do when we were uninsured was certain pharmacies like CVS pharmacies and sometimes Walgreens have what's called a nurse practitioner on staff during certain days. And a nurse practitioner is essentially like a nurse plus. What they do is nurses aren't allowed to prescribe medicine, but a nurse practitioner takes a course where they learn essentially the same stuff a doctor learns, and nurse practitioners can prescribe medicine. So they're basically doctors.
Nice.
So usually if you go there will be a nurse practitioner, and they'll charge like $50 to $65 for a consultation.
Yeah.
And you can kind of come there with pretty much any problem. And they can't x-ray you, and they can't like do an MRI or something like that. But if it's something that can be solved with a prescription or something like that, or even if they might even just look at your foot and go, you really need to see a doctor.
Looking at my foot, it looks fine. Like I walk fine. I jog. I go jogging. But it's one of those things. Like I said, when I move the toes and I put my finger on that area, like I said, you can tell that it's not arranged like it was before I jumped over that stupid fence.
So honestly, I don't know what a nurse practitioner is going to do for you, because she's not going to punch you in the foot and go, "You're better."
Wow, that was really easy.
Honestly, at this point, I think what they might have to do is, if you really wanted to get it fixed, they might have to go re-break the foot and kind of put it back together the right way.
Yeah.
That's surgery. But I don't know. Again, I am not a doctor.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'd like to get x-rayed. What did somebody suggest to me? Like prompt care or something? I don't know.
There is, my mom calls it Doc in the Box, but what is it really called? It's like, there is a place that has doctors that you can kind of go for if you're uninsured, that kind of has like a flat rate, and you kind of go in there and they'll take care of you usually. It's like a walk-in type thing.
Yeah.
It might be worth it, but X-rays aren't going to be. X-rays actually aren't that expensive, but they're not cheap either.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Even if they come back to you and say like, "Yep, it's broken. I don't know what your next step is."
Yeah.
You're just like, "Good, I know that now."
See, now I know it for sure.
I
I was
think
only 99.9% sure
I
before.
think mainly you're just worried if it's going to get worse or infected or something like that. I think you might be a little worried that it will never go away or it's going to get worse. You might have to deal with the pain if you're not going to have surgery. I mean, that's just my uneducated opinion.
Well, and like I said, it's not painful.
It's annoying, I know, but
yeah, it can be kind of an annoyance, but it's not. It's not like Dr. House or something like that. I mean,
no.
It's not painful. Like I said, I walk just fine. I don't walk with a limp. I can jog, but like I said, it definitely something happened to it there. Yeah. Oh God, there's a video of mine that was shot the day after it happened. It might be in the interviews section.
We gave the interview, and you're like, "I'm hurting a lot right now."
Yeah, it was the day after it happened, because the next day I woke up nauseous as hell. It was like bruised. It was turning black, and I'm like, "Oh God! All right, we gotta go to this." So we drove to the con. I instantly go in there and got sick, and then there's footage of me limping around on it, and because I didn't know, I had a feeling it was probably broken, but I didn't know for sure. And I'm interviewing the guy who wrote Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, and J.D. something, I can't remember, but anyway, like it starts out, and I'm standing there trying to be pretty cool, you know, trying to be well collected. I'm kind of standing there, and I'm like, "Hey, all right, you might have to pardon me. I think I might have broke my foot last night, so..." Like, I probably sounded drunk.
Yeah, that took balls, though, going out there, because you did a lot of walking. The day after I broke my foot, I walked, like, I probably walked a mile through fucking O'Hare Airport.
Oh, yeah.
And what was worse was I was hurting so bad.
Uh-huh.
So bad. Joe was actually pretty much carrying me, like, kind of, you know, he was kind of half carrying me through the entire airport. And what was worse was we were late for our flight, so we had to hurry. So, like, I'm dragging a bag behind me. I'm limping like mad. I can't put any weight on my foot. I'm a fucking mile through. I was really just kind of like, I kind of went into that zone where, like, you're just kind of focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. I was pretty much delirious with pain.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at the start of that day. And then it kind of got okay after. Well, it didn't get okay, but I mean, I was at least limping around on it. And by the end of the day, when we were driving back because we were in Indianapolis, and we were driving back to Illinois, I was in the back of the van, just leg propped up on the seat.
I wonder if the footage for... Hang on a second.
There is footage of well, there is that interview, but there's also, it's probably in my vlog section, of me hobbling around that fucking con.
Well, I think the only footage of me with my broken foot was... There's two things. I wonder if the footage exists of me at the donation drive, because actually you can kind of see me... I'm in shock at the donation drive.
So you broke your foot before you guys went on the air?
No, during the donut, we kept...
during.
We kept showing videos, and so there were so many people kind of crammed into Doug's room. We were kind of doing a rotation where some of us leave, some of us enter.
Okay.
And so I went out for just a half hour, and I broke my foot, and I went into shock. And they're like, Spoony, time for you to get in and entertain people. And I'm like, oh, I can't feel my leg. And so I go in there, and you can kind of see me in the back, just kind of putting you can see like this big pile of ice on my foot, and everyone's trying to kind of ignore me because I'm just kind of moaning. Like, oh.
Oh, man. I gotta see that sometime. Yeah, I'm trying to find night of convention. Okay, it's yeah. If anyone wants to see me hopping around the convention, the still shot thumbnail is Brian holding me up.
Oh yeah, you're right. Everyone in the chat room during the donation drive was like, "Why is Spoony sad?" I wasn't sad. I was like teeth gritted in agony. Like I must have been scowling. I'd have been like, I hate my fucking life right now. Yeah, but everyone is asking why I was sad.
Why are you sad, Spoony?
I should have been like, I'm sad because you're not donating enough to the Ronald McDonald House.
I'm sad at how cheap you are. You made me sick.
The second donation drive, ironically enough, the second time we did the donation drive, I was probably in more pain than when I broke my foot. I had the worst migraine I've ever had that day.
You and I had, I mean, you actually had the migraine going on. I had a big headache, but not as bad as you had. You and I both had.
I was propped up on probably more ibuprofen than I've ever had in my life. I probably caused myself some liver damage that day because I was popping that shit like Pez.
Yeah.
I hurt so bad. I probably, any other day, I would have passed out. I've had migraine so bad I've passed out from the pain, but the only reason I didn't pass out from the pain was because of the ibuprofen. But there's a reason that you probably should lay down with a migraine. I was hurt, and I felt so bad because when I broke my foot, I felt horrible. I was like, you flew me down, and I let you down. I broke my foot. I didn't entertain people like I should have. I feel like I really let you down. And Doug was very nice. He's like, no, you didn't. Shit happens. And I'm like, yeah, but you flew me down to raise money, and I fucked it up. I fucked it up bad. I'm sorry. So I swore. I was like, if you fly me down, I'll be entertaining. I'm gonna bring a video. I brought 2 videos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on camera the whole time. I'm gonna be wacky Spoony. I'm gonna tear this shit up. I'm gonna make you proud. I show up, worst migraine of my life.
Yeah.
And Angry Joe his energy is ramped up to 11. Joe is yelling. He is cheering. He is screaming. He is doing cartwheels. He is shouting how excited he is. We're raising money. We're doing good. And he's just yelling all the time. And I'm not putting down Joe. Believe me, Joe did everything he could. His energy was amped all night long.
He was perfect.
He was making money. He was perfect.
Yeah.
He was screaming in my fucking ear all night long.
He got in my yeah. That's where my headache came from.
He was yelling so loud.
Uh-huh.
You can see me, if there's video exists of that, you can literally see me wilt.
Yeah.
Every time he starts yelling, like right in my, I just go, oh.
Oh, Joe, you're killing me.
And you can see me, eventually at some point I think I do just kind of pass out in the background. You kind of see me in a chair, just kind of with my
Yeah.
with my face in my hands, just desperately trying to rub life into my own brain.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just horrible. And again, I feel so bad because once again I let him so down so badly.
I felt bad that I couldn't get as animated as Joe, but that's so there was no way I could match. There was no way I could match up to that.
I felt horrible. I still feel horrible.
No, you did fine.
No, I didn't. I really didn't because my energy was just rock bottom. I had no energy. I had no drive to be entertaining because honestly, my thoughts were such a jumble of. I was basically 99% delirious in pain. Like people were calling me. I said the stupidest thing I ever said in my life to one of the one of the callers. One of the callers was like, "I just donated like $500, and all I want to do is talk to Spoony. And could I possibly get a signed autograph
Yeah.
of one of my photos?" And I was so fucking dizzy. I said something like, "Well, you can buy a photo. I sell autograph photos on my website, dude." Something like that. And people were like, "Spoony is an asshole."
Well, you made up for it though.
And he's like, he donated so much money. He did so much good to kids.
Yeah.
All he wanted was a photo. And you told him to buy one? And I'm like, oh, fuck. I did. Oh, my God. I am an asshole.
You had a migraine going on, and you made.
I was so fucking. I was such a douchebag. That is probably the worst thing I've ever said to anyone in my life. Where I was like, well, if you give me $5, I'll give you a fucking photo, asshole. Like, it was really bad. And it was so bad. And I own up to that. I own up to that so
but
much.
I mean, you had a migraine going on, and also, I mean, it would have been worse if you didn't realize what happened.
I tried to contact that guy, and I finally got through to him, and he's like, I understand. I'm like, I was like, any photo you want, dude. Name two. I sent him two. And I think I even gave him a credit in the video at some point just for no reason. I was like, I'm so sorry to you. But it was one of the worst things I've ever said in my life. And I rightly got shit upon for it. And I still get crap for selling autographs. And really, I charge $5 for a photo. And here's the deal with that. I do make some money off that. I make maybe like 90 cents to $1 off the photos. But really, the cost is for packaging and printing up the photos. I make like $1.
Yeah.
And really, I've only sold maybe like 60. So...
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing with me and like the shirts I have. I mean, I make some pocket change off of it,
So it's not like I'm got this huge money. I don't have like a money bank where I open up a door and I start doing backstrokes through dollar bills. And I'm like, those fools, they buy money, they stroke my ego.
So much money.
No, that was such a douchebag thing to say. I still this day, I still like at night I go, I can't believe I fucking said that. Yeah, asshole. Spoony is an asshole. I tried to own up to it. I hope I've done my penance.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't beat yourself up over that. I mean, I felt bad that I wasn't all that. That I wasn't. I mean, I felt bad because I was standing next to Joe, and there was no way I could be that.
You couldn't compete with that. Joe is.
Yeah,
well,
no way,
Joe
so
is just he's a very amped up guy most of the time.
Yeah, and he's a natural at that, and I'm a pretty mellow person. Like I was standing there with like a glass of whiskey or something. Should enjoy this fine scotch.
Oh, that was when Rob actually poured that really good scotch.
It was really fucking good.
I have no palate for liquor because he gives me this really good scotch. He's like, just take a sip of it. So I take a sip of it. I go, oh, this tastes like.
Do you have any Splenda?
You know, he goes, this. I go, this tastes like paint thinner, and he goes, that's scotch, and I go, ugh. It really did taste like paint thinner. He goes, it's good shit.
It's good shit, right? Yeah, what was that? Was that during the the Pepsi Holiday Spice?
Yeah, it was Pepsi Holiday Spice. We were passing that around.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that was the whiskey. That was good. Not so much, not necessarily the Holiday Spice.
I drink. I'm sorry. I drink girly drinks. I drink even the beer I drink tends to be like that fruity flavored beer, like the cherry beer and shit.
It tastes like cherry.
It does. It tastes like cherry. I drink screwdrivers. I like screwdrivers quite a lot, but
I do too. I like vodka lemonades a lot.
Yeah, vodka lemonades. I'll drink that. I've never had a whiskey sour.
I drink rum and diets.
I have never had an apple teeny, but ironically, I probably would really like them.
You would. You'd like the apple teeny.
I've never had a Zima. I've never had a Smirnoff Ice, and ironically, I probably would like Smirnoff Ice as well.
Smirnoff Ices are okay. I've never had a Zima. I've got a bottle of Romulan ale that Linkara sent me.
Nice.
And he sent me a bottle of Romulan ale and a can of Romulan Ale Energy. Nice.
I like hard lemonade. I drink that. My favorite drink is pina coladas.
Those are good.
I love pina coladas. People look at me
Those
weird when I order those. I'm like, what? I love coconut.
Yeah, exactly. That fucking coconut drink I had the other day was delicious.
I'm like, fuck you. Coconut's awesome.
Coconut's great. I'm like the only one of my friends who likes coconut. Jillian, Sarah, Brian hate it.
When Lindsay Ellis came to my place, she brought me this really strong apple cider, which is good.
Yeah.
And she also brought like this, I forget what it's called. It's like Malibu coconut rum.
Oh yeah.
So we did coconut rum and Coke.
Yeah.
That was good shit.
Oh God, yes it is.
We got fucking hammered doing on coconut rum and Coke, doing the Dune riff tracks. By the end of the Dune riff tracks, she is drunk as hell.
Oh, I love the Chinese buffet we have here in town has great coconut chicken that's fucking awesome.
I really want coconut rum and Coke now.
Me too. God damn it.
That Malibu coconut stuff though is really strong. Like it is really like an intense. You cannot drink that stuff straight.
I used to drink it straight.
Ooh.
I used to. I mean, my hangovers are so fierce nowadays that I'll really only go out like maybe once a month or two. But I used to go out a lot. And yeah, just stuff like the Malibu rum. Yeah, there would be a night where me and my friends would be sitting there and I'd just be taking shots of it.
Ugh, it tastes like it's really like just tasting syrup.
Yeah.
Ugh. I do. We actually that would be a good idea if we all did like a drunk cast someday where we all got together and just did a really drunk fucking
That would be fucking awesome.
That would be awesome. We're all just talking about shit and like telling the same stories we've told 1,000 times. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We should really do that for the next donation drive. Do the drunk donation drive.
Get drunk. There's enough booze there. Oh, that would be fantastic. I would be hungover as shit the next day, but that'd be worth it.
The 4th year anniversary, we don't shoot nothing. We just get fucking drunk.
It's a drunk documentary.
Fuck it, we're not working this year. I'm tired.
We're not fucking. We're in a hotel miles away from home. We're getting fucking drunk. A fucking 3-day binge. This is gonna be the best movie ever.
Shit, we almost did that when the movie didn't look like it was going to get done.
Yeah.
If it kept raining, we
to
probably would have done the drunkumentary.
We would have to do the leaving Las Vegas shop Nick Cage shopping aisle dance,
Yeah.
grabbing the different liquors.
We probably would have just filmed ourselves in the Target bitching at the movie aisle.
You in front of children.
That was so weird. You take like 8 to 10 online movie critics and just take them to a movie aisle, and we just start pointing and reviewing stuff.
Start being cynical dicks in the middle of a Target.
We were just like, I can't even think. We're like, oh, Rocky 3, that was a great movie, and like Phalis is pointing at like some sci-fi Mansquito, that was good, and
Oh, that was a good one.
oh, Jesus, Blood Rain 2, oh my God, and like just.
Or what was it Bennett said? He said something that a bunch of us jumped on him for. He was standing there. Oh, he holds up a DVD of the 4 Batman movies and says, "You know what? I'm going to come out and say it. Batman Returns is worse than Batman and Robin."
We're like, boo!
Shame on you. Boo! Bennett, shame on you.
Yeah, that's how Phalis really talks.
Huh?
Somebody's asking, is that how Phalis really talks? Yeah, I guess that is how he talks.
That's how I talk. There was one funny moment when they were upstairs shooting stuff at Doug's place for Suburban Nights, and it was me, Phalis, you maybe, and a couple other people were in like the top basement area, not the sub-basement. And there were some people in the basement area. Well, someone leaned down and said, Phalis, will you peek your head in there and tell him to be quiet?
Oh, is that when he sticks his head in and he goes, "You know we can hear you."
Yeah. He sticks his head in and goes, yeah, they can hear you upstairs.
But nobody fucking heard it because we're like fucking playing Dance Central and watching we're watching like the Human Centipede movie.
Yeah.
And we're all screaming like, "Feed her!" and like he just kind of, I saw him stick his head and just kind of mumble something and stick his head out. And I'm like, what was that?
Yeah, I was standing up there with him when he did it. He looked like he was kind of like, really? I'm the guy you want asking him to do this? All right.
He didn't object. He was just like, all right.
Yeah, like, they can hear you upstairs. And then he just walked back over and continued talking with us. Fantastic.
What was the movie Stallone made after Rocky? Was it Fist?
The one that he made right after Rocky, I think, was Paradise Alley.
I know he made Fist right around that time.
He did. And then there was also like Victory. Let me see here.
Tango and Cash is an awesome movie.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Although it does rip off Police Story, but that's just me.
Oh, does? Oh, right. Yeah, I guess.
There's a scene in Police Story where Jackie Chan stops the truck by standing in the road and shooting a gun.
Yeah, that's right.
And that pretty much the identical scene is in Tango and Cash.
Rocky, you're Fist and Paradise Alley were both 1978. Paradise Alley as Cosmo Carboni.
Cosmo Carboni.
My favorite franchise Stallone flick is probably still Nighthawks.
I gotta go Over the Top.
Nighthawks. I do love Over the Top. Of course, Demolition Man.
I love that. I love Assassins.
Oh.
Did you ever see Assassins?
Chit-chat. That's a good word.
Antonio Banderas is fucking bouncing off the walls in that movie.
Cliffhanger. I love Cliffhanger.
Yeah, I didn't really like Cliffhanger.
I fucking love Cliffhanger, man.
Judge Dredd, no. I didn't like Judge Dredd at all.
I'll be the judge of that.
Hey, law.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I knew you'd say that.
I actually liked Get Carter.
There was The Specialist.
I haven't seen that since it first came out.
Oh my god, that movie is such 90s cheese.
Yeah.
The Running Man wasn't even Stallone.
That's not Stallone.
You betrayed the law!
I liked Daylight. Oh, come on, Death Race 2000, man. You look like to me a baked potato.
No, I got the entire chat room going, law!
Law!
For the crime of betraying your flesh, I pronounce you guilty. For the crime of being men when we could have been gods! Guilty.
We're going to war.
Court's adjourned.
Does that come with a fork?
Double whammy.
Fuck.
Grenade.
What was another one that someone mentioned up here? Oh yeah, someone mentioned Lock Up.
It was one of those rare movies where Max von Sydow wasn't the villain.
Right. Yeah.
It was kind of like I watched Minority Report, and as soon as Max von Sydow appears, I go, villain.
He did it.
He did it.
It's like when you see something's a murder mystery and Ironside pops up.
Or fucking Ben Kingsley shows up.
Remember Sea of Love with Al Pacino?
Yeah.
Where there's one part, like maybe an hour into it, he goes in and just kind of randomly interviews a couple of people, and it's kind of no big thing. But one of them is Michael Rooker. So you're like, well, okay, well, I know how this mystery's gonna end.
I almost never see Michael Ironside as a good guy. I think the last time I saw him as a good guy was X-Men First Class. And even then he was being a dick to the mutants.
Yeah.
He was like that Navy captain guy. He's like, everyone, arm missiles and fire.
I was reading an interview with Stallone once, and they asked him what the worst movie ever made was. Not the worst movie he's been in, but the worst movie ever made. And he answered with, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
It was ass.
Someone else, another person asked him if what advice he could give to filmmakers out there, and he said, like, never put your wife in a movie.
He was with Brigitte Nielsen in like 2 movies, wasn't he? It was like there was Rocky 4, and he did something else.
Cobra,
yeah.
Rocky 4, Cobra, and was there another one?
I don't know.
I can't fucking remember. Yeah, I think it was just Cobra and Rocky 4.
Stallone was awesome in Terminator 2. He's fantastic. It's his best performance ever. That's why we have area codes.
I fucking love that fucking movie.
I still give Doug shit for that.
Yeah, I gave him some shit for it too. We were at a con, and someone I think someone gave one of the fans gave him some shit for Last Action Hero, and he kind of looked over at me.
He's like, "Am I wrong?"
Yeah, like I was going to agree with him, and I'm like, I love Last Action Hero. That movie's fucking awesome satire.
To be or not to be.
Not to be. As pie, you Sicilian schmuck.
Hey, Claudius. You killed my father. Big mistake.
I'm a friend of your son's, Otto Braunschweiger.
I can never remember his name. The guy who played Benedict. Charles Dance.
Yeah.
Oh, one of his best fucking roles ever. That and Golden Child. I watch that shit all the fucking time.
180, you spaghetti slurping twit. 180. If I did a 360, I'd go completely berserk and end up back where I started.
I love it. My favorite is his monologue where he's all, he's in the real world and he realized that anyone can just kill anybody for no reason and get away with it. So
Yeah.
he's like, "Hello, I say,